Okay, so you're wondering how to stop ruminating, how to stop thinking about your narcissistic ex, or the bad thing that didn't work out, or the job that you lost, or the friendship that didn't work out. If only you could have just done it this way. If only you did it that way. Why did this happen? What can you do now? Right? All these thoughts going over and over. Were you too nice? Were you too mean? Were you too ignorant, naive? Were you to blame? Were they to blame? Was it wrong timing? If you had only done it this way, would it have worked out differently? By the end of this video, you will be set free into allowing your consciousness to work for you instead of running you. Right now, if you're ruminating, your consciousness and often subconsciousness is running you, which you have given your power away to those circumstances, people, places, and things, the ex-narc, the ex-job, that situation that didn't work out the way that you wanted. And other people are like, really? Why are you still thinking about dude or dudette, narcerson? Why? Why? You're really still thinking about that person? And you're like, yes, because I've got to figure out how to not go down that path. First of all, I highly doubt when you were a little kid dreaming of the future that you're like, when I grow up, you know what I want to be? A ruminating person who stays stuck in the past and blames people, places, and things for my crappy life. Doesn't that sound fun? No, that's not what you did, right? You were probably like, I want to be an astronaut and an actor and a musician and an Olympic athlete, because there were no limits to your imagination. There were no limits to what you can be. And then these life circumstances came on and said, oh no, you're limited. Remember, you're a limited being. You can't even create a healthy relationship. You can't even have somebody respect you enough not to lie to you. And then often you have the world, and sometimes good intentioned friends and family might even shame you on top of that. Well, you just have a bad picker. You just did it wrong. And that's only going to get you more and more in the ruminating, right? And that's actually where you're making a mistake. So the first thing to stop ruminating is actually not being present, because being present, often you're like, yeah, I'm ruminating, I got it, I'm thinking about the past. And that's kind of an oxymoron, because you're present, but you're thinking about the past, but it's present in your body that you're ruminating. Because a lot of times you hear, well, just be present or just don't think about it. You're like, yeah, well, they're both the same. In the present moment, I'm thinking about it. Okay, so you're telling me to be present, or maybe you're ruminating because you're still in it. Maybe you live with somebody who's very, very horrible to you. I invite you to imagine the greatest outcome. So often when you're ruminating, it doesn't feel good, right? Because you're thinking of the worst outcome, or an outcome that already happened that didn't go how you wanted. So now I invite you to think of the highest and best outcome. The highest and best outcome. And you'll know it's the highest and best because it'll actually feel good. It will not feel anxious. It'll feel expansive. It'll feel like that little kid who's like, sure, I could be an astronaut and a musician, an Olympic athlete and NBA player and all the things. Sure, why not? Unleash that part of you that believes in possibility again. And allow yourself to forgive yourself for trying to figure out the past, because of course there can be some value in trying to figure out where it went wrong, but now go into where it can go right. Where it can go right. I'm reading an amazing book right now, David Goggins, you've probably heard of him. Start noticing serendipitous things in your life as well. David Goggins started popping up on my feed, which probably on yours too, is everywhere on YouTube, right? And so I started seeing these videos of him And I'm like, wow, he's like, he's kind of a type A, like, go get him. He is, but I thought he was just like a workout guru guy. But he's so much more than that. Then he popped up in conversation like 2 times in 1 week. Then I was walking with my daughter in those little libraries, the free ones that are, this is your visual, the free little libraries. They're like sometimes like a little house or something in front of someone's house. I open it up and there's his book. So I thought, okay, I'm going to read this book. So I've been reading it. He has one of the worst narcissistic stories that you've ever heard of, or even maybe sociopathic. Read his book, Can't Hurt Me. It's fantastic. I'm almost through it right now, and it's been so inspirational because here was a man who came from the worst situation. I mean, just awful. His dad was highly abusive, to say the least. That almost makes it sound nice. He was terrible. And this man came out of the worst circumstances and has won ultra marathon, or triathlete marathon. I forget all the names of the things, but if you know what they are, you know what they are. But if not, read the book. But he's a Navy SEAL. He has created an amazing life out of a terrible situation. Why? Because he kept visualizing the future and what was possible, not staying stuck in the past and how it didn't work out. Otherwise, he would have just continued on that loop. I've talked before about Joe Dispenza. He does amazing work in the world. He, along with many scientists and doctors, have proven that Parkinson's has been healed in some people, stage 4 cancer, thyroid disease, blindness. If people can heal their bodies from traumas like that, you can certainly heal your body from a traumatic past that is keeping you stuck in rumination. But you have to first believe that it's possible. You have to believe that it is possible to get out of this cycle of ruminating. How do you do that? You sit and visualize. You actually visualize. Did you know that so many athletes, musicians, actors, they visualize first exactly how they want it to go, so that then when your body catches up to that circumstance, you're ready. So visualize the best relationship you could imagine. Visualize your dream come true life. Every time that you get stuck in that cycle of, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda, beating yourself up, wishing it went differently, wishing you were meaner, nicer, more aware, snoopier, whatever it is, go, oh, I'm in the past. And if you're in the past, you're going to keep recycling the past. It's a predictable past, which will predict a predictable future. So something else I'd like to offer you is possibly this idea that you're not addicted to the narcissist, or you're not addicted to ruminating. What you're addicted to is actually feeling bad. Because when you're feeling bad, you feel like you deserve possibly nurturement, is that a word? To be nurtured, right? When you feel bad, you have an excuse for maybe not doing the things that you love, but really it's a way to nurture yourself in a really bizarre, backhanded way. Because if you feel bad, then I don't need to go and apply for the big dream job. If I feel bad, of course I'm not gonna have a great day. And then you go, wait, I don't want to feel bad though, Leah. It's just something that happened to me. How can you dare say that I want to feel bad? I don't want this feeling. I get it. So since you don't want it, first, when you don't want something, ironically, you actually bring it in. When you want something, you repel it, right? So it's the opposite of what we've learned, which is so backwards. So instead, first go, okay, I want this. I want to feel this way. I want to feel bad. And then you're like, no, I don't. So go into the feeling of the future. Like, oh, I don't want to be a multimillionaire, which might sound really weird, but you're changing the mantra. So a lot of times we hear about affirmations, right? Like, I am love. I am abundance, I am. But that can feel like a lie to you when you're sitting there broke, when you're sitting there ruminating. So a really cool, weird way to say affirmations, maybe this is new to you, because if your affirmation is, why do I always get in bad relationships? Why do I always attract narcissists? Why am I always broke? Why am I never chosen? Instead, switch it to, why am I always chosen? Why is everything always working out for the highest and best for me? Why am I attracting people so easily and effortlessly, the healthiest, most fun, uplifting people? Why are my dreams coming true now so easily and effortlessly? I'm dreaming of what I really desire: health, wealth, wholeness, abundance. But remember, you're going to have withdrawals. It doesn't mean that you think the addiction is better than being healthy, but the withdrawals are often worse than the being unhealthy. So same with like a narcissistic relationship. Even though you know it's not healthy to be inside that relationship, when you get away from it, oftentimes the withdrawals from it are worse. So you begin to ruminate. So then just say, I want a narcissist. I don't want all these wonderful people all around me. And then you can begin to flip it around and then focus on the future. So every single time that you start to ruminate, play this little game with yourself. And another thing that David Goggins says, I'm pointing over here as if you can see the book, but it's sitting right here. It's sitting right here. This is what I'm reading. He says the accountability mirror, which I love. And I also have a forgiveness exercise, a short video I made on forgiveness that you can do in the mirror. And that's very, very powerful. I'll link it below somewhere or up here or wherever you can find it. But he has another accountability mirror exercise in this book where you look in the mirror and you're actually kind of a jerk to yourself. You're like, you know what? You're a ruminating loser. You are so stuck in the past that you are going to stay in the past. You are so stuck in that addiction that you are going to stay in that addiction forever unless you do something right now. What is the future that you want? And get real with yourself. So sometimes when we talk about affirmations and everything, we're like, oh, just be really peaceful. And I love peace, right? But you can't spiritually bypass into peace when you've ignored all the BS. That's going to keep you in ruminating. So if you keep ruminating, go, oh, I'm addicted to feeling bad. And that can be in the accountability mirror. You're addicted to feeling bad. Get addicted to feeling good. How do you know you're addicted to feeling good? Because your life circumstances don't have to change yet to feel good. You can just go into the feeling as if everything is already happening the way that you wish it to be. As if you're living your dream life right now. Mad, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, she didn't want to lose a child to a drunk driver, but what did she do? She created the highest and best out of that circumstance. Instead of sitting there, I wish this didn't happen, which is not empowering at all, and it keeps you tethered to the past. She created a beautiful vision and a future, empowering and helping other people. So get addicted to your future. How do you wish to be out of this terrible situation? It's not to pretend like that didn't happen. David Goggins doesn't pretend like he didn't have a terrible childhood. He uses that to propel him into the future, into the dream life that he wishes. So if you're ruminating, remember what you're actually addicted to and get addicted to the dream future. Forget about even being present for a little bit. That's what's so bizarre. Forget about it. Go into the future, and that's how you can come back into present and leave the past. I hope that this helps. This has been helping me tremendously. I have gotten out of some terrible situations. I have cured my body from cancer in one of my lowest points when I was crawling around my apartment trying to planned weddings for people as an events coordinator and healing my body from cancer. I had a spiritual awakening, and I dreamed of the future that I have now, which is helping people, empowering people, being able to work from home, being able to raise a daughter on my own. None of these things would be possible if I kept myself tethered in the past. That doesn't mean that I haven't had relapses. So just like a junkie, I was addicted to feeling bad. I was addicted to toxic relationships. That was my responsibility. And I've had relapses where I'm like, oh, just give me another hit off that narc pipe. Like, I want it, but I actually don't want it. But now I realize how to flip it and go, okay. So just yesterday, my daughter had a birthday party of a friend of hers, and it was at an apartment building of an ex-narc that I dated a year ago, who I felt like broke my heart. Although nobody can break your heart, they get you closer to your heart. But it felt like my heart was broken because I thought I had healed from narcissists, and then I drew in yet again another narcissist. I relapsed. And what are the odds that my daughter, who goes to school in first grade, is friends with a girl whose mom lives in the building that he lives in? What are the odds? I've done another video about running into your ex-narc, by the way, and I'm gonna talk more specifically in a future video about that encounter that I had with him one day in the elevator. But yesterday, they invited me to the birthday party, and a part of me didn't want to go because I was like, oh God, what, I'm gonna run into him now and I get to watch him make out with his girlfriend at the pool or something, and I don't want that situation. And then I was like, you know what? Yeah, I do. I want that situation. I want that situation to happen so that I can actually really love myself and show that I can be my own best friend. And I can be around that, and I can witness that, and it's gonna be okay. And guess what? Didn't run into him because I wanted it, because I was prepared for it. I prepared myself mentally for the future that I wanted. Does that make sense? This is a lot of like contradiction in a weird way. But I promise you, this stuff works. And I felt empowered, and I didn't run into him. Whereas the last time, I didn't want to run into him, but I was so focused on that, and I knew in my heart I would, and I did. It's a giant building. There's like, I don't even know, 1,000 people in this building. So the odds of running into him are very slim to none. But last time I did, because I didn't want it. This time I didn't because I did. Does that make sense? Now you might go, wait, but then how am I supposed to, want my future? Don't want your future, bring it into your present. So when you visualize the future, remember, it's as if it's already happening. You don't want something that's already happening, you just have it. Okay, I really hope that this helped, because this has been life-changing for me. I cured myself of cancer. I helped myself yesterday in a really funky thing where I was like almost relapsing, and then instead I was in a state of empowerment. And even if I had run into him, it would have been okay because I was prepared. Forgiveness is paramount. Forgive yourself for not knowing better in the past, for the things that you did, said, brought in, and also forgive the person that hurt you. Now that can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes, because you're like, how can I forgive this person that's not even sorry? And you may have heard this before. Forgiveness is not about them necessarily. It's about you not taking the poison anymore and giving your power away to them. So we have soul contracts with people, right? And if you've had narcissistic abuse, you have this soul tie to this person. So Dolores Cannon has a beautiful exercise. If you don't know her, you can look her up. She has some very interesting work that she's done in the world. But she has a really powerful exercise on forgiveness, where in your mind's eye, in a meditation and a visualization, you can actually visualize the contract with this person, this horrible, toxic, whatever person, situation, thing. okay? And then in your mind's eye, you rip up the contract. You rip it up. It's gone. It's over. You release that person, place, or thing. You no longer have a soul contract with them. And now you can create a brand new future. I wrote this down in my meditation today. So a vision, vision, is vital intricacies, super irresistible, omnipresent, and now. So you hold this vision for the future in specific detail, winning the marathon. In David Goggins' case, winning the ultra, whatever it is, having a beautiful relationship, bringing in all the money, bringing in the health and wealth in your body. Hold a vision for your life. And remember that your reality can be whatever you make it to be. Sometimes toxic people, sometimes well-intended people, without even realizing it, will be like, well, you have to be realistic. And that's their way of knocking down your vision. First of all, be very careful who you share your vision with. Hold it near and dear to you. You will get to a place where you don't have to avoid every single person that might trigger you. I hate that, where it's like, oh, trigger warning, oh God. You know, if you're avoiding landmines everywhere, you're not really healed. But while you're in this healing process, you can protect your energy and not share with everybody your vision, but you will get to a place where it doesn't matter, because you'll just see their own behavior patterns play out by the way that they respond to you. But sometimes well-intended people go, well, you have to be in reality if you share a vision with them, right? And they don't believe that that's possible. You have to be realistic, they'll say. And so I wrote down one for reality. Reality, okay, is this: rendering expected and appearing lost inevitably, terminally, as you. So that's just a way that you can actually repeat the past by being in reality. Because in reality is not often what you want, what you desire for the future, right? Or if you've been following along, what you don't want. Is this confusing enough yet? So you really, in a way, can't live in reality, because reality may be horrible to you right now. Reality is creating the same and same and same from the past, because that's reality. You don't know the vision because you're not in it yet. So it can't be in reality. So when somebody says, you got to be realistic, you can just laugh, smile, and be like, yeah, if I want the same thing over and over again, or I can hold a vision and actually create something new. The last one I'll leave you with is dream, directed realm, expected and appearing as me, right? Because if you remember, the reality is rendering expected and appearing lost inevitably and terminally as you, as the other, as the projected view of you, instead of dream, which is directed reality, expected. I'm expecting this vision, expected and appearing as me, as uniquely me. If this makes sense to you right now, just write dreaming as uniquely me, holding a vision now. Declare it. You got this. I believe in you. I do.